Network, and I serve as the executive director and founder of the Brotherhood of Excellence Academy. We're on a mission of ending fatherless generations by preparing males for empowerment, entrepreneurship, enrollment, enlistment, and employment. Under the empowerment segment of our mission, we have launched a broadcast called Teaching Boys and Raising Sons. Again, we have started a broadcast called Teaching Boys and Raising Sons. We're going to be interviewing mothers or fathers or even joint couples who are actually raising sons. In some instances, they may be raising sons now. They maybe have already raised their sons, and so they have the opportunity to reflect on how did they prepare them for manhood, or how did they have conversations about police brutality. Let's not forget George Floyd, and what kind of conversations did that take place within their household. We want to share what these parents, these mothers, these fathers have learned on their journey of raising sons. So Teaching Boys and Raising Sons, everybody can get something out of it. It might be a leadership nugget. It might be something that you have been really wanting to hear other people's thoughts and opinions about it. Again, we are super excited for the opportunity under our mission and one of the components of our mission is empowerment. And so we are so excited to be able to offer these empowerment segments under our broadcast, Teaching Boys and Raising Sons. Let's get started. I'm going to switch gears a little bit. Okay. So this is preparing sons for society. So these are kind of questions about preparing your son for society, because as we know, when they transition to leaving the home, sometimes that safe net, that safe home, that safe cultural environment is a little bit different when they are not in the home, or if they're just going back and forth to school. I'll say it that way. So in your opinion, first, let me ask, what are some barriers African-American boys face in society?
Oh, barriers. They're age old. I think because they're age old, I think just confidence in self is a big barrier. Identity. Again, those are areas that we have to they have to kind of come to figure out on their own. We help with their identity and we tell them these things, but it really is just an inward belief, or inward believing of who you are and that I can do these things. Other barriers besides identity, in a sense, I would say for our sons, and I'm saying just sons of Black and brown color, I would say those barriers there are more than mainstream ways of being successful. Those not necessarily peer pressure, but pressures of going routes that seem to bring success when there are within us ways to achieve success that don't look like mainstream, if that makes sense at all. And I feel like that's a barrier to get past when we have and I don't want to just say social media, I want to say just examples of sports, entertainment, those types of things that seem to bring immediate success. And I believe that's just a barrier that a lot of our sons have to get past. They don't have to go into that type of industry to be successful, if that makes sense. Hope that makes sense.
No, it does, because it was interesting. I was interviewing some African-American males, and they talked heavily about typically our African American boys and our boys of color see sports, athletics, basketball, baseball, football, NFL, NBA, and then they'll see
Mhm.
maybe musicians. I won't call them out Jay-Z, Snoop Dogg, to whomever, but they don't necessarily make the equivalency between success and personal fulfillment. And
Mhm.
really making sure that you might go in this route, but there's nothing wrong with being an educator or a firefighter or a lawyer. Is that kind of what you're saying in terms of really seeing a broad scope of what success looks like beyond just sports and entertainment?
Exactly. Exactly. That's it. And because I mean, I solely believe if we find out what our children's gifts are early on, and they usually come up, it hasn't failed us yet. I mean, with all our children, that it usually comes up around 5 or 6 years old, who they are and what they do really well. And that's been something my husband and I have sought to identify in all our children and then remind them. So,
Mhm.
like I said, Caleb, um, when he started out, he wanted to be a cowboy. And that's what a 5 or 6 year old would identify with, earth, agriculture, and animals, and then now it's, grown to he likes business and he likes music and he likes all these things, but we're like still incorporate agriculture, which you can,
Mhm.
so he's looking at agribusiness. It's grown. I mean, and it's a big industry, and but still that music part that he's used, and I'll use that as an example because that music that he started making in the seventh grade helped him identify with other boys like him and helped him to fit in. And so now music is a big thing in his life. I mean, he's produced several albums on his own and just recently one that he put out on his 18th birthday in December. So, it's like, it's something that he really loves. It's a passion, but, I tell him, don't forget, what we identified when you were younger. Even though I feel like he's going to go really strongly towards music production, because that's just, you get so much encouragement in the media and with friends, or and that you feel so good about it and successful, when the thing that where you may find fulfillment might take a little more work. you know just a little more work. So we just keep encouraging him to just remember, where you began, what you started with. So.
So let's go with you've been talking about his career pathway and really following his passion. Let me go back into the classroom itself. So
Okay.
this is before, here we're in a global pandemic. So this is before COVID. If we can think about pre-COVID, what were some of those supports that were met inside of an academic environment for your son?
And I will say that academically, he's been prepared to take advanced class, I will say homeschooling to begin with.
Okay.
With homeschooling, we were able to um, introduce all types of curriculum, and we were able to take the time to recognize where they were academically and what their strengths were and what their weaknesses were. And we were able to kind of feed them that appetite that they needed academically. So, and just give them opportunities to read all day long. Really, that's a big thing. And I know one thing they said before they started school, and this is pre-COVID, they had more time to read. And when a child has time to read, they can read subjects and read about ideas that interest them, you know, and you don't put a cap on it, and they keep learning and learning and learning. But once school started, one thing I remember my son saying was, I don't have as much time to read anymore. You know, so I know it was pretty interesting. And that was very pre-COVID. And when I noticed they weren't reading anymore, it was a little bit more stressful, I think, just trying to keep up with just schedules and things. And we always felt like our preparation was to make sure that they were placed in advanced placement classes, you know, because it gave that 5-point cushion, you know, even if you don't do so well, you still can up your grade, that kind of thing. That was our belief. That was a preparation. Of course, tutoring and Kumon or anything else, you know, that was available pre-COVID. Yeah. That's a good question. It is a good question. I'll probably think of something else a little bit later as well.
Well, but I like how they received a solid foundation through homeschooling, and really created that thirst and that desire to want to read. And then one thing we've learned about boys in research, if they're actually reading something that they enjoy, it's like, you know, because most males, again, based on research, really like nonfiction. I'm not saying that's what table or not, but a lot of times within schools, we read fiction because that's geared toward the female, but males like nonfiction, concrete, things they can relate to. And so I love how you all were able at that infancy stages of education, really building into them a solid foundation of wanting to read. Post-COVID.
That's true. No. As you were talking, and I said I would probably think of something else. It's really true. He would read series of books, just the whole, you know, from beginning to end, and series after series after series. And yeah, it's true. Wow, I didn't know that. That's good. Good to know.
So much for watching. My name is Shamika Smith. I again serve as the Executive Director and founder of the Brotherhood of Excellence Academy. And again, thank you so much for taking this time to hear a tidbit, a word of wisdom, a leadership nugget from our broadcast, Teaching Boys and Raising Sons. If you want to know more about our organization, please take the opportunity to visit our website at www.brotherhoodofexcellenceacademy.org. Again, that's www.brotherhoodofexcellenceacademy.org. And also, if you're looking to donate to a 501c3 organization, please consider the Brotherhood of Excellence Academy. We are truly on a mission of ending fatherless generations by preparing males for empowerment, enrollment, entrepreneurship, enlistment, and employment. Join us on this journey. Thank you again so much for watching our broadcast. We'll see you next time.